a path that asks nothing. Just the sound of that phrase, isn't it? It feels like a cool cloth on a fevered brow. In a world that feels like a constant, buzzing questionnaire, what do you want? What have you achieved? What's your plan? What do you owe? What are you worth? The idea of a path that doesn't interrogate you, that doesn't demand a single answer, feels impossible. And yet it calls, like a memory of a place you've never been, but know is home. Hello, you. It's Sarah. Let's leave the interrogation room of our own expectations. Just for now. Let's imagine the feel of a path that asks nothing. It's not a path to enlightenment. That path asks for devotion, for discipline, for surrender. It's not a path to success. That one asks for sweat, sacrifice, and your soul as collateral. It's not even a path to peace, because even peace can become a goal, a thing to be grasped, and a goal is a question waiting for an answer. Have you found it yet? No. This is different. This is a path that exists only because you are walking it. It doesn't ask you to reach the end. It doesn't ask you to appreciate the view. It doesn't ask you to be grateful or mindful or better in any way. It simply unfolds beneath your feet, one step width at a time, with a quiet, unassuming generosity. Its only offering is surface, support, a place to put your weight. Think of a deer trail in deep woods. The deer didn't make it with intention. It wasn't laid by a surveyor. It was made by the repeated, gentle pressure of presence. A deer went this way, and then again and again, not to get somewhere important, but because it felt like the way to go in that moment. The path is the record of 1,000 unforced choices. It asks nothing of the deer but to live. It asks nothing of you but to walk. So, what does it feel like to walk a path that asks nothing? First, you'd feel the absence of a checklist in your mind. There's no inner scoutmaster barking. Are you doing it right? Are you making good time? Are you learning the lesson? The mental commentary, that constant, low-grade performance review just stops, because there's no performance. You're not being graded, you're just moving. Your breath is just breath, not a measure of your calm. Your footsteps are just sound, not a metric of your progress. You'd feel your senses come alive, not because you should be mindful, but because there's nothing else to do. With the inner interrogator silent, your attention is free. It goes to the way the light falls through the leaves in shattered coins of gold, to the smell of damp earth and decaying bark, rich and sweet, to the feel of the air, cool in the shade, warm in the sun patches. You're not noticing these things to better yourself. You're noticing them because they are there, and your attention is no longer a tool to be used. It's just a facet of your aliveness, shining on whatever is near. On such a path, you'd lose the urgency of your own story, the story of your past, your wounds, your triumphs, becomes just baggage you can quietly set down by the side of the trail. No one is asking you to carry it. The story of your future, your dreams, your fears, loses its hypnotic power. The path doesn't lead to a brighter future. It leads to the next step. And that is enough. Your identity, that carefully constructed answer to the world's questions, begins to feel loose, ill-fitting. Like formal clothes you put on for a party that isn't happening. You can unbutton the collar. You can breathe. A path that asks nothing also offers nothing. No promises, no guarantees of scenic overlooks or profound revelations. It might lead you in circles through ordinary woods. It might peter out entirely in a thicket. And that would be perfectly fine. Because the purpose wasn't the destination. The purpose was the walking without purpose. The relief is in the cessation of the transaction. You are not paying effort in exchange for enlightenment. You are simply existing, and the path is the proof of that existence, meeting you stride for stride. This is the secret, I think. The path that asks nothing is the one you are already on. It's the path of your own existence. This life, it only seems to ask everything because we are constantly interviewing for it, trying to prove we deserve to be on it. But what if we stopped applying for the position of being ourselves? What if we just showed up and walked and let the path be nothing more and nothing less than the fact of our movement through time? So tonight, just feel that, wherever you are on a path. It is the path of this evening, of this hour, of this breath. And it asks nothing of you, not even that you believe this, just that you breathe, just that you feel the weight of your body on the chair or the bed. That's the path, right there. And it doesn't need you to be anything other than exactly what you are in this moment. A living being, traveling through the quiet night. That is all, and it is everything. You know, after you've walked a few steps on that kind of path, a funny thing happens. You start to feel shy. Not with anyone else, but with yourself. It's the shyness of being seen without a costume, of being a creature in the woods with no biography, no business card, no list of interesting opinions. Just a warm body moving. The mind, so used to being the narrator, the defender, the publicist, goes quiet. It doesn't know what to say. There's no agenda to comment on. So it just watches, wide-eyed and simple, like a child. This is where you start to feel the path with you, not under you. It's not a surface you're traversing. It's a partner in the motion. The slight give of the pine needles, the firmness of a buried root, the softness of the mud near a seep, these aren't obstacles or amenities. They're conversations. The path is saying, here it's soft, or here be careful, or here you can pause. It's not asking you to be grateful for the warning or the comfort. It's just offering information, the way the air offers temperature. You receive it without thanks, because thanks implies a debt, and there is no debt. There's only the ongoing, wordless exchange of presence. Without the questions, am I fast enough? Wise enough? Going the right way? A different kind of intelligence wakes up in your body. It's not the sharp, linear intelligence of problem solving. It's a round, spatial intelligence. You feel the lay of the land in your hips. You sense the openness to the left as a slight pull in your chest, like a draft from a hidden door. You don't decide to go that way. You find yourself leaning into the pull, the way a plant leans toward light without a thought. This is navigation by affinity, not by goal. You go where you fit, where the space welcomes you. And the silence, it deepens from an absence of noise into a presence. It has texture. It's the silence of things being exactly, unreservedly themselves. A stone is silent in its stoneness. A fern is silent in its uncurling. You walk in the cathedral of this silence, and your own noisy humanity begins to feel not like an intrusion, but like just another kind of natural sound, the rhythm of breath, the shuffle of feet. You belong to the silence as much as the tree does. You don't break it, you add a layer to it. Here, on this asking nothing path, you might meet your own tiredness not as an enemy to be fought with caffeine or willpower, but as a truth to be sat with. You might simply stop, sink down right on the ground, and let your spine curl. The path doesn't scold you for lack of progress. The earth holds you up just as well if you're sitting as if you're walking. There is no penalty for stopping. The whole idea of penalty and reward dissolves. There is only what is true in the moment. The weight of your bones, the cool of the ground, the slow return of your breath to a resting tide. This is the unlearning. You are unlearning the tyranny of purpose. You are discovering that your worth was never an answer to a question the universe was asking. Your worth is the premise, not the conclusion. The path knows this. It doesn't need you to be worthy. It is literally the ground of your being, and it supports you without condition. Not because you've earned it, but because support is its nature. So you walk on or you sit. You are, for these imagined moments, outside of the economy of effort and achievement. You are in the ecology of being, where a thing exists simply because it does, and that is the whole of its reason and the whole of its beauty. And you are that thing, walking a path that asks for nothing, because you finally have nothing left to prove. Then, after the shyness, comes a sense of being utterly ordinary, not in a disappointing way, in the way a single leaf is ordinary. It's one of billions, doing nothing more spectacular than existing, turning sunlight into food, trembling in the breeze. There is no drama in its leafness. It is complete. You feel that completeness in yourself. The frantic, special, unique snowflake of your identity melts into the simple, obvious fact of your existence. You are a living thing. That's the entire job description. And on this path, it's enough. The light changes. You weren't noticing it before, but now you see how it slants, painting long, elegant shadows that stretch across the trail like silent companions. Time isn't passing, it's revealing. Each moment is a slow, careful brush stroke on a canvas that is only ever now. You have no appointment with the future, so you're free to watch the painting being made. The dapple of light on the back of your hand becomes a world to study. The slow arc of a spider's thread from branch to branch is an epic event. In this deep ordinariness, you start to notice the path isn't just underfoot. It's all around you. The arch of the branches overhead is the path. The flight of a jay from one thicket to another is the path. The path is any way that life moves through space. You're not following a trail, you're participating in a vast, slow choreography where everything is both the dancer and the dance floor. Your walking is just one movement in it. There's no separation, and therefore no loneliness. You are surrounded by fellow travelers, the trees walking steadily upward toward the light, the clouds walking their sky road, the creek walking its relentless, chattering descent. Without the path asking anything, your own internal demands become embarrassingly loud, and then they get quiet out of sheer awkwardness. The voice that says, "I should be feeling more peace," sounds absurd. It's like shouting in a library. The atmosphere of gentle, unquestioning acceptance soaks up the shout. You're left with just the raw feeling, whatever it is, maybe a quiet sadness, a neutral blankness, a flicker of joy, and it's allowed to be exactly what it is, for exactly as long as it lasts. No assignment, no grade. This is where you might stop to touch the bark of a tree, not to receive a lesson about strength or grounding, just to feel its texture, the rough, puzzle piece ridges, the cool, damp moss on the north side. Your fingertips are learning a language older than words. The tree isn't giving you anything. You're not taking anything. You're just meeting at the level of sensation. A quiet hello between two forms of life. No transaction. No expectation of friendship or spiritual exchange. Just touch. And in that simple, asking nothing touch, A love arises that has no object. It's not love for the tree. It's not love from the tree. It is love as the fundamental condition of contact between two parts of a whole. It is the love that exists in the space between things that know they are not separate. It's a quiet hum in the chest, a warmth without a source. So you walk on, this love humming in your steps. The destination, if there ever was one, has been forgotten. It's irrelevant. You are not going somewhere. You are somewhere deeply. And this deep somewhere moves with you. It is the path, and you are the path, and the walking is just the path feeling its own length, appreciating its own contours in the form of you. There is no walker. There is only the walk, and it asks for nothing because it already has everything it needs: the ground, the air, the light, and the miraculous, ordinary fact of its own happening. After a while, the walking becomes so effortless it's like the path is walking you. Your legs move, but the initiative seems to come from the earth itself, a gentle persuasion forward. The distinction between moving and being moved softens, then blurs, then vanishes. You are not a traveler. You are part of the path's method of unfurling. A thought tries to form, this is peaceful, but it can't find a purchase. Peace isn't an experience you're having. It's the substance you're made of. To comment on it would be like a wave commenting on being wet. The world, in this depth, loses its symbolic weight. A rock is not a metaphor for stability. It's a collection of minerals, cool to the touch, holding the memory of the mountain it once was. You see it as it is, free from the burden of meaning you'd usually assign it. This happens with your own feelings too. A ripple of anxiety isn't a signal to decode, a warning of future failure. It's just a specific, fluttering tension in the solar plexus. You feel its edges, its temperature, its rhythm. You don't ask it what it wants or what it means. You let it be a temporary weather in the body sky. And because it's not interrogated, it often just passes, leaving no trace but a clearer sky. This is the path's great teaching, non-interference. It doesn't interfere with you. It allows your footsteps, your pauses, your weariness, your wonder. And in its presence, you learn not to interfere with yourself. The mental fingers that are always poking and prodding your experience. Is this good? Is this deep enough? Should I be doing something else? They unclench. They rest. Observation becomes pure, without an editor. You are not improving your experience. You are letting your experience be. In this allowed state, memory and imagination lose their fever. They become like old books on a shelf in the room you're sitting in. You know they're there. You could pull one down and read it. But right now, you're just sitting. The present moment is so richly furnished with immediate sensation, the smell of ozone after a distant rumble of thunder, the way the fading light turns everything to blue gold, that the past and future seem like pale, two-dimensional things. They have no pull. And what of other people? If you were to meet one on this path, you'd see them without the filter of what they can do for you or what you need from them. You'd see the same unaskedness in them, the same quiet, weary, beautiful fact of their existence, walking their own length of path. There would be no need for conversation, but if words came, they'd be simple. About the weather, about the berries on a bush. They'd be words that touch the surface of things lightly, without trying to dive for hidden meaning. The connection would be in the shared atmosphere, not in the exchange of stories. The path that asks nothing, you realize, is the only true hospitality. It hosts you without condition. It doesn't care if you're happy or sad, enlightened or confused, productive or lazy. It offers the same ground, the same air, the same forward possibility. In doing so, it mirrors back to you your own unconditional worth. Your worth isn't contingent on your state of mind. It's as solid as the dirt beneath your feet. You are worthy of this support simply because you are. So you walk until walking becomes irrelevant. You might stop and lie down, looking up at the canopy. The path is now the sky, and the sky asks nothing of the clouds. You are the cloud drifting. The questions have all burned away, not in a blaze of insight, but in the slow, cool, merciful absence of anyone left to ask them. There is just this, the breath, the sky, the silent, asking nothing embrace of a world that never required you to be anything other than what, in this very moment, you already are. Then it happens, not as an event, but as a settling so deep it feels like the first truth. You and the path aren't just companions. You're not even different aspects of the same thing. The duality itself, the idea of a you and a path, was the last, faint echo of a question. Now, even that echo fades. What remains isn't oneness. That's still a concept, a positive statement. What remains is simpler, is ness. The suchness of what's here. The rough bark is. The cool air is. The sensation of weight in your feet is. There's no you feeling it. There's just the feeling happening. Awareness isn't something you possess, it's what is, and it includes the bark, the air, the weight, and the knowing of them. There is no center and no periphery. It's all center. In this, action is like the fall of a leaf from a tree. It occurs when the sum of conditions is complete. You might find yourself standing up, turning, beginning to walk back the way you came. There's no decision. It's just the next natural adjustment of the whole. There's no, I am returning. There's just returning happening, and it feels no different than continuing forward would have felt. Direction is a story. Movement is a fact. The mind, now, is just another natural phenomenon. Like the wind in the leaves, it sometimes stirs. A thought blows through, I am hungry. It isn't a personal complaint. It's a sensory report from the organism, as impersonal as the rumble of thunder. It carries no emotional narrative. It doesn't mean you failed to eat at the right time or that you're neglecting yourself. It just is. And the body, in its intelligence, will likely adjust course toward nourishment again, without a central commander issuing orders. This is the end of seeking, because there's nothing left that is not already found. You sought a path that asked nothing, and you've dissolved into the very quality of asking nothingness. It permeates everything. The sky asks nothing of the clouds. The stream asks nothing of the stones it flows over. Your heart asks nothing of the blood it pumps. It's all just functioning beautifully, wordlessly, without need for recognition or purpose. A profound tenderness arises for the entire, aching, beautiful world. Not because it's perfect, but because it is. You see the struggle of the vine reaching for light and feel it as your own reaching. You see the decay of a fallen log and feel it as your own eventual return. There's no sadness in it. It's just the pattern. The breathtaking, intricate, relentless pattern of life and death, form and dissolution, all happening within this boundless, asking nothing awareness that you are. So you move, or you are still. It makes no difference. The path has fulfilled its only function, to bring you to this point where you see there was never a path, and never a you to walk it. There is only this infinite, intimate, undeniable present, expressing itself as forest, as body, as awareness, as the soft sound of your own breath disappearing into the waiting, asking nothing air. You have arrived at the place you never left, and the arrival asks for no celebration. It is its own quiet, endless celebration. There's a softening then, not of the body, but of perception itself. The edges of things, the line where tree meets sky, the boundary of your own skin, they don't blur so much as become transparent. You see the tree, but you also feel the space it holds and the space that holds it, and there's no real difference. The path is no longer a line. It's a widening. It's the whole forest floor, and you are not walking on it. You are a temporary density within it, like a slightly warmer, more mobile patch of earth. Sound becomes touch. The call of a bird isn't an event happening over there. It's a vibration that begins in the air and finishes in the marrow of your bones. The rustle of a squirrel in the leaves is a texture that rubs against your hearing. You're not listening to the world, you are being touched by its sonic body. And in that touch, there is a deep, wordless communication. The forest is saying, I am alive, and your nervous system is saying, I am also alive. And the conversation is perfect, complete, and asks for no translation. In this sensory communion, the last remnants of personal history evaporate. They're not forgotten, they're rendered weightless. The memory of a childhood woods, a past hurt, a old joy, they float through the spaciousness of now like fragments of music from a passing car. They have no emotional hook. They're just patterns, interesting shapes passing through the field of awareness. You have no more story than the lichen on the rock. And like the lichen, you simply are, in your particular, unique, and utterly insignificant way. Insignificance here is the ultimate freedom. To be nothing special in the eyes of the universe is to be released from the exhausting performance of being something. You can just occur. A thought occurs. A feeling occurs. A step occurs. There is no author, so there is no critique. The internal critic, with its red pen and furrowed brow, has left the building. What's left is a mild, curious observation, as if life is watching itself live through these eyes and is quietly fascinated by the process. From this place of fascinated insignificance, action is taken with a light, almost artistic touch. If you pick up a piece of litter, it's not a good deed. It's an aesthetic adjustment, like smoothing a wrinkle in a cloth. You are simply tending to the pattern, bringing it back into a harmony that pleases the senses. There's no doer, so there's no one to congratulate. The action is its own beginning, middle, and end. And as you move or sit or lie, you feel the path's ultimate secret. It is made of time, and time is not passing. It is pooling. You are sitting in the deep end of the present moment. The past is just the shallows you waded through to get here. The future is the faint, imagined shore on the other side. But here in the deep pool, you are suspended, weightless, held. The sun moves, the shadows lengthen, but these are just changes in the light on the water's surface. You are below in the silent, cool, timeless depth. This is the path that asks nothing. It is the invitation to sink below the surface of your own story, into the timeless, wordless, sensory depth of being. You don't walk it, you float in it. And as you float, you realize you are made of the same water. The asking, the seeking, the striving, it was all just ripples on the surface. Now the ripples have stilled. There is only the deep, clear, welcoming water and the silent, joyous knowledge that you have always been home. There comes a point where the metaphor of the path dissolves entirely, like a sugar cube in still water. It was a useful fiction, a way to coax the mind into a sense of direction when all it really needed was to stop. But now, even the idea of direction is gone. You're not in a forest. You're not on a path. You're not even a you having an experience. The components have all separated back into their essential states: awareness, sensation, space. And in this separation, a funny thing happens. Everything becomes profoundly intimate. The space between the atoms in your hand and the atoms in the air is revealed not as separation, but as the medium of connection. You feel the air not against your skin, but as a continuation of it. The world isn't outside. It's the outermost layer of your own sensory body. There's no inside or outside. There's just the single, seamless event of perceiving. From this, a deep, effortless ethics arises. It's not ethics of right and wrong. It's the ethics of an organism that knows it is not separate from its environment. You wouldn't deliberately harm your own hand. In this state, you cannot deliberately harm the world, because the world is experienced as your own extended body. A thought of cruelty feels like a proposed act of self-mutilation, unthinkable, not from morality, but from a visceral sense of unity. Compassion is simply the intelligent care of the whole for one of its own parts. Time now isn't just pooled, it's seen through. You see the ghost of past and future for what they are: thoughts. Flimsy, transparent thoughts that appear in the present moment. The anxiety about a future task is a thought hologram, projecting a shadow onto the now. The regret about the past is another flickering image. You see them being generated, you note their content, and you watch them vanish, leaving the pristine present untouched. You are no longer living in time. You are living in the awareness that contains the illusion of time. This awareness has no qualities you can describe. It's not peaceful, that's a quality. It's not joyful. It's not even neutral. It is prior to quality. It is the blank page. And on this blank page, the vivid, chaotic, beautiful story of your life is written. But you are no longer lost in the sentences. You are the paper. The story can be tragic or comic, but the paper is not affected. It holds the ink. It allows the story, that's all. So what is left to do? Nothing. And yet, everything gets done. The body rises when it is rested. It eats when it is hungry. It speaks when communication is called for. But there's no sense of a CEO in the head making these decisions. The system is self-regulating, intelligent, and astonishingly elegant when left to its own devices. Your life begins to live itself, and you are the blissful witness, the aware space in which this miraculous, autonomous living is happening. The path that asked nothing has led you here, to the realization that you were never walking a path at all. You were being the space through which all paths appear and disappear. You are the silent, allowing, asking nothing ground of being itself. And in that, every step, every breath, every moment of confusion or clarity is revealed as perfect. Not good, not bad, perfect in its isness. The seeking is over. The walker has gone. Only the walking remains forever, and it is nothing, and it is everything. Then, even the awareness of being the paper, the ground, the space, that too relaxes. It was the final, subtle stance, a knowing of what you are. But all knowing is a subtle form of doing, of positioning. It too is released. What's left can't be spoken of, because speaking is a doing. But in the silence after the last concept drops, there is just this, not this as an object, this as the subject and object collapsed into a single, undeniable fact. Existence, not your existence. Existence itself, happening as this configuration of sensations, sounds, and the knowing of them. There is no you at the center. There is just the centerless center. The experience is so ordinary it's shocking. It's the suchness of a rock, but conscious. You are the rock, knowing it is a rock. From this impossible simplicity, life proceeds with a luminous normalcy. You make a sandwich. The crunch of the lettuce is the universe crunching. The spread of the mustard is the universe spreading. There is no actor, only action. No enjoyer, only enjoyment as a flavor in the field of consciousness. The drama of self-improvement is seen as a quaint, charming game you used to play, like a child playing dress up. You can play it again if you like, set a goal, strive for it, but you'll know it's a game. The stakes are gone. The tension is creative, not desperate. And other people, you see them as you see yourself, as localized whirlpools in the same stream. You don't see their problems as separate from the flow. You see their anger as a turbulent patch of water. Your response isn't to jump into the turbulence, but to be the deep, still water beside it, which, by its very nature, allows the turbulence to calm. You don't fix. You provide the conditions where fixing becomes unnecessary. This is love stripped of all story. It is the gravitational pull of wholeness. Here, in this nameless place, even the idea of spiritual or awake is a joke. Those are labels for a state, and this isn't a state. It's the absence of all states. It's the factory default. The computer has been rebooted to its original settings, and all the fancy, buggy software you installed over the years is gone. What runs is the basic operating system: perceive, respond, rest. It's incredibly boring to the mind that craves complexity, and it's infinitely peaceful. So the path that asked nothing didn't just ask nothing, it was nothing. And by leading you into its nothingness, it showed you that you too are made of that same no thing. The solid, separate self was a hallucination, a ripple mistaken for a stone. The ripple has smoothed out. The water is clear, and you see now that you were never walking on a path. You were the emptiness that the path was drawn upon. And in that emptiness, which is full beyond measure, you are finally, completely, and forever at home. After everything, what remains is not a higher understanding, but a simpler being. The mind, exhausted of its projects, becomes a quiet neighbor. You hear it puttering around in its kitchen, making a cup of tea, humming a tune. It's no longer the landlord of your experience. It's just a tenant, and a peaceful one at that. The body is just the body, a beloved animal, familiar and strange. You care for it without sentimentality, the way you'd care for a well-made tool. You oil it, you rest it, you enjoy its capacities, but you don't worship it or berate it. It is what it is. When it hurts, you attend to the hurt with practical kindness, not with a story of victimhood or failure. When it feels pleasure, you feel the pleasure without a narrative of clinging. Sensations come and go. The body is their temporary home, and the world, the people, the tasks, the news, the weather, it all flows through the space of your awareness like a river through a canyon. The canyon doesn't hold the water, it allows its passage. You are the canyon, deep, ancient, shaped by the flow, but fundamentally unchanged by it. The water may be muddy or clear, raging or gentle. The canyon doesn't prefer one state over the other. It simply provides the space for the river to be what it is. From this allowing, action is taken with effortless precision. It's not your action, it's life's action happening through this particular human form. You write an email and the words arrange themselves. You hug a friend and the arms know how to hold. There's no doer claiming credit, so there's no fear of blame. The action is clean. Its consequences are part of the river's flow, and you watch them unfold with the same detached engagement as you'd watch the downstream effects of a thrown stone. This is the final relaxation, the relaxation into truth, the truth that you are not the author, the protagonist, or even the audience of your life. You are the theater, and the play is wonderful, heartbreaking, boring, and exhilarating. But when the curtain falls, the theater remains, dark, quiet, empty, and perfectly at peace. So the path that asked nothing has delivered you to this empty theater. and you realize you were always here. The walking, the seeking, the profound insights, and the terrible confusions, they were all just a particularly absorbing play you were staging for yourself. The lights are off now. The seats are empty. And you are sitting in the sweet, silent dark, not waiting for the next show to begin. Because you understand now, the dark itself is the show. The silence itself is the symphony. And you are not separate from it. You are it. And in that, there is no more to say, no more to find, no more to become. There is only this forever, and it asks for nothing, because it already contains everything. And then there is just the room you're in, the soft light or the dark, the weight of your body where it rests, the faint, familiar sounds of a living space, a creak, a hum, the distant sigh of a refrigerator. The grand metaphor of the path evaporates, leaving only the simple, tangible reality of here. The journey wasn't to a place. It was to a recognition that the peace you were looking for wasn't waiting at the end of a trail. It was the ground you refused to stand still on. It was the quiet between your own thoughts, which you were too busy thinking to notice. It was the sheer, uncomplicated fact of being alive in this instant, without a single requirement attached. You realize now that a path that asks nothing is simply life, seen clearly. Life doesn't ask you to be happy. It doesn't ask you to be successful. It doesn't ask you to be spiritual or wise or even kind. It just unfolds. Your judgments, your frantic efforts, your aching desires, those were the questions you were projecting onto it. When you stop projecting, the questions cease. What's left is not an answer, but a vivid, wordless experience. From this clear seeing, you engage with your world not out of obligation, but out of a natural, flowing care. You'll go to work, or care for your family, or create something, not because you should, but because that's what your hands, your heart, your moment are inclined to do. It feels lighter. There's grace in it. Mistakes become learning curves, not indictments. Joys become pure gifts, not achievements to be catalogued. And this is what we've been circling here, in this shared space of Nightform Stillness. It's not about achieving a permanent state of bliss. It's about remembering again and again that beneath the noisy story of your life, there is this quiet, this allowance, this pathless path that asks for nothing but your presence. If returning to this remembering with a companion's voice is helpful to you, you are always welcome here. This channel is an anchor point in the noise, a scheduled sigh. If you'd like these reminders to find you in the flow of your days, consider subscribing to Nightform Stillness. It's a simple way to honor the quiet within the bustle. Hit the bell if you'd like a gentle nudge back to this space. And if anything in our time together has felt like truth, a moment of relief, a breath of clarity, please share it. Pass it on quietly. You never know who might need permission to stop, to breathe, to realize that the frantic search is optional, and that a deep, asking nothing peace is their birthright, already here, underfoot. This isn't an ending, it's a return. You are returning to your life now, but you take this with you, the unshakable knowledge that you can put down the heavy pack of expectation anytime. The path is right where you are, and it asks nothing. It never did. Thank you for the profound gift of your attention. This is Sarah, loving you from right here, wishing you the gentle courage to walk your own asking nothing path, wherever it may lead. Until next time, in the quiet that never left,